The Exorcist Believer was an absolutely shocking experience, and not just because of the frightening images and the twisted visuals. It was shocking because before going into it, all I had seen were negative reactions. People were saying that it was an absolute waste of time, but my friends, obviously this is just my opinion, but I think that the critics got this one wrong. So let's break it down. What's up everyone, and welcome back to Jones Vibes. Hit the like button if you're compelled to do so, and let's dive in. So right off the bat, I just want to let you know that this is mainly going to be a spoiler-free review. I might get into some spoilers towards the end, but I'll be sure to warn you before I do. But The Exorcist Believer was directed by David Gordon Green, the man who directed the most recent Halloween trilogy, and although reactions were mixed for Halloween Ends, Halloween and Halloween Kills were both fairly well received.
Evil dies tonight!
Evil dies tonight!
Just looking at it, it's pretty clear-cut why they would choose him to jumpstart this Exorcist trilogy. The synopsis reads, when his daughter Angela and her friend Catherine show signs of demonic possession, it unleashes a chain of events that forces single father Victor Fielding to confront the nadir of evil. Terrified and desperate, he seeks out Chris MacNeil, the only person alive who's witnessed anything like it before. And guys, just my general thoughts here, and you might think I'm crazy, but I really enjoyed this movie. It felt like it was a horror movie geared more towards me than, having just talked about Saw X than that was. And I'll be transparent here, I like The Exorcist, like I enjoy the original movie, but I'm not like a die-hard fan or anything. And there are a lot of people out there that I've already seen that have seen this new movie that clearly have a strong attachment to the original. And that's fine, I respect that. But going into this, I was just ready for a good and scary time at the theater in October, and it certainly delivered on that. The center of this movie is this father and his daughter. He lost his wife while she was pregnant with his daughter, and she really never knew her mother, and so family and the choices that we make for them is really a massive theme here. We see the other girl, Catherine's family, deal with this as well, but another element to the plot, and this is probably my favorite aspect of the film, is that we're dealing thematically with a man's struggle to come back to his faith. And whether you're spiritual or religious or not, like just put that aside, that doesn't matter. It was just so interesting to watch and analyze. Like, how far are you willing to push yourself before you start to accept the things that you don't want to? I don't know if that makes sense, but obviously this is just an Exorcist movie, and so a message like that being so important in this movie was just not what I was expecting. Sure, we're dealing with good and evil, but if this was just a cash grab, they would have just possessed some girls and tried to scare us and left a post-credit scene at the end to set up the next one, but they did the exact opposite. They told this really unique story of a community of people coming together in fellowship to try to save these girls. Backgrounds didn't matter, beliefs didn't matter, because in the moment of this exorcism, the only thing there was to believe was what was happening right in front of them, and they had to face that. It freaking ruled, and there were moments that my jaw was literally on the floor. I think my wife can attest to that. Just some of the moments where there was these shots of like demons just kind of interjecting themselves into the scene, and also there were even more modern elements added to this with smoke and cool effects. It was really cool, but I feel like we should get to it. We should get to like one of the main topics, and I'm talking about the bringing back of Christine MacNeil, or Chris MacNeil. And I actually quite enjoyed this. I think what I was expecting for her was to very much play just like the classic Laurie Strode part, and I was afraid that it was going to be a bit cliche, but I think that when you see it, you'll find that her story actually takes a turn that really isn't what you expect. I think that she gave a solid performance, and the references to Reagan and all of the subtle nods visually are really the only thing tying this to the original. It wasn't overkill, and I think that they could have easily done that. Her character served a solid and practical purpose in this, but she's not there to be the lead. The lead is Victor, and regardless of how this movie does and whatever people say, this dude deserves some props. But with any possession film, the one thing that needs to be good is the possession. And these two girls were horrifying. There were several super scary moments leading up to like the main exorcism, but this movie shined where it needed to. And the third act, the main exorcism, was insane. You got heads twisting and people floating and screaming, and by the time we got to the end, I just sat back and I was happy with what I just saw. But as always, I want to give out my Jones Vibe star rating based purely on my enjoyment level of the movie. And guys, I'm giving The Exorcist Believer 4 out of 5 stars, and that's a well-earned 4 stars, I might add. But like I mentioned right off the top, I'm going to be talking about a couple spoilers now, so if you haven't seen the movie, this might be a good time to check out. Okay, so how did you guys feel about the return of Regan? In my theater, I literally could feel some heavy eye rolls, but I thought that it was awesome, and they did enough with the small amount of Chris's dialogue to set that moment up for the payoff. It seemed like a sweet scene to me, them coming together after all this time, but I get how it felt maybe a little bit forced. What I did find nuts was when Chris got stabbed in the eyes. She definitely didn't see that coming. But then lastly, just on the topic of Victor and his daughter Angela, the revelation of the choice was a really deep and dark way to play things out in the end. The other father chooses his daughter, and the demons played a trick on them, and they take the child from the more selfish parent. And watching this Catherine girl get dragged down into hell by demons was just frightening. There was a lot to process there, you know, our main characters made it out, but somebody did not. But I'm very curious to know, if you saw the movie, what you thought about it. Also, what do you guys think is going to happen with this trilogy now? Do you think they're going to keep making them after these bad reviews? I don't even know if it's already in production, but horror has been doing a really solid job at the box office lately, so you got to think it's like, maybe the reviews are terrible, but it makes a lot of money. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But like I said, please let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments section. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And also, give this video a like if you enjoyed it. I'd really appreciate that support. If you want to reach out to me, you can follow me on X at Jones Vibes Only. Be sure to subscribe, and also keep up the good vibes, guys. But everybody hates The Exorcist Believer besides me, and that's just how life goes sometimes.